Bangladesh, 80% they are not uneducated people. They cannot write, they cannot read. They didn't have any experience about school and education.
There are many children, they are deprived from education because of their poor parents, and they cannot support properly, and they cannot give the money and others clothing and food, and they cannot run properly their family. It's very hard their parents to support their children, and sponsorship is great. If one child get the sponsorship, that is a blessing for the child to continue his or her education and fulfill his dream.
The first school that I had an opportunity to visit in Bangladesh is known as Basque. They had a warm welcome, of course, which was amazing, but the first thing that really caught my attention is the love that the teachers and the administrators expressed toward the children. Whenever a child would approach them, they would immediately recognize them, engage with them, and the child would do the same. In fact, as we walked through campus, hello sir, good morning sir, the friendliness of the children and just their level of joy that was present was a real standout about this school. One of the highlights of the visit to Basque was having lunch in the home of Pastor and Mrs. Park. They're leaders in the school. He's the principal, and she is involved in supporting through sponsorship. But as I was sitting there, I noticed a big banner on the wall in plain sight. It was like a major feature of the room, and on that banner there were pictures and profiles of students, much like you would see on the Child Impact sponsorship page. The difference is that these children do not have sponsors. And as I began to ask some questions, I discovered that Pastor and Mrs. Park pray twice a day for the children, and there are dozens of them that are represented there on this banner, that they will somehow find a sponsor.
I want to pray, but I don't know the face and the students very well. So I asked to the officers, please give me the data. And then he make the print, big print to my house. So I know who is them, their face, and then how they difficult. So early in the morning and then evening when we worship with my husband, we pray together for each one of them to get the sponsorship.
Back in our home office near Southern Adventist University, we receive applications for children to be sponsored. We put profiles up on the website. We engage in phone calls with potential donors. All of that is very meaningful, and we find it to be a fantastic ministry to be involved in. But when you're in the field and you see a couple like Pastor and Mrs. Park earnestly praying, pleading with God that children will be sponsored through Child Impact, it's a whole different story. And the reason they do this is because they see the children that are sponsored that now have a path to a different future. And they know that if these other children can receive sponsors as well, that they too will have opportunities for their life. This is so significant to them that they take this as a matter of prayer to God a couple times every day. So I am so grateful for our donors who have stepped forward to say, I want to be a sponsor, I want to be a part of this. I want you to know that there are people praying in these countries that Child Impact is supporting through sponsorship. They are praying earnestly that God will send more sponsors. A vivacious lady by the name of Flora is the leader of the sponsorship program at Basque School. And as I saw her interact with the children, there were a couple girls that were like her shadow. One of them is named June, and the other one is Shampurna. Neither of these girls are sponsored.
Every day, morning and afternoon, whenever they meet, they're coming to my office and asking for sponsorship. Ma'am, So did I get the sponsorship? What about me? So when I will get? So very often they ask me, even every day.
But as we learn more about their stories, we understand why sponsorship is so important. June, for example, is only 7 years old, but her father was tragically ambushed and murdered. He had allowed somebody to borrow some money from him, and despite repeated attempts, they refused to pay. Well, one day he was surprised when they returned his money, but as he traveled home, they ambushed him and he lost his life. Such a tragic experience for this young girl to go through. Well, she now is at the Basque school and does not have a sponsor. And so as Flora was explaining the challenge that these children face, each one of them with a story often of tragedy, it is very clear, based on the background that so many of these children come from, that sponsorship is very important to them. Even these young girls know what a difference a sponsor can make. And they're literally begging and asking, when can I be sponsored? I'm so grateful that actually my mom stepped forward and said she would sponsor Shampurna, and we're still looking for a sponsor for June. But I believe someone will sponsor her. But there's so many other stories like that here in Bangladesh. So we really want to encourage you to consider sponsoring one of these precious children so that their life can have a different path as they go forward.
My parents cannot support me.
Your parents cannot support you. It's too much money to come to school and you need help with a sponsor. I have some news for you today. You have a sponsor.
Thank you, sir.
Yes, is that exciting? Okay, congratulations. That is so exciting. And as a gift, I have for you some candies.
Sir.
And this is a special soap all the way from America, okay?
Thank you, sir.
Congratulations. That's exciting, huh? Okay.
Are you happy?
Yeah, I'm happy.
I was really impressed talking with the business manager. He has a vision of self-sustainability. He wants to do everything that they can on the campus with the facility they have to be able to produce an income. And so one of the visions he has is a high-powered pump that they can keep all of their 16 ponds that they have on campus filled with water so that when rain is scarce, they can still grow gardens. Those gardens can help produce some income as well as supplement and provide nutritious food for the students. In addition, 3 of those ponds are going to be filled with tilapia fish. And he has done some calculations, and the numbers he's come up with are very encouraging in terms of the type of income that can be provided through such an industry. As Child Impact, we want to support and encourage innovations that help our projects with sustainability. We want them to do everything they can to help themselves as we help them and these children through sponsorship. I enjoyed interacting with Shampurna and June and of course all of the children at Basque, playing some games with them and interacting and learning more about their stories. Every child has a dream. They have some vision for their life. And through sponsorship, they're going to be able to follow that dream. So I'm hoping that more children can be sponsored at Basque and all throughout Bangladesh. These children come from very difficult circumstances. They don't have options in front of them. Child marriage, loss, poverty, hunger, all of these things plague children in this country. And through education, they can break free from that cycle and have a path to a bright future.
Students who are getting sponsorship, if they do not have sponsorship, they will not have access to continue their education. And immediately they have to drop out the school. They would not have any privilege to continue with their funding, their money. So Child Impact is a blessing for these kids in the Adventist schools. They learn not only formal education, they learn the moral education. They know about the world, they know what is required in their life, and they can stand, they can see the whole world and go for it. what they do, where they go, they can change. This is one of my belief. Building cannot change a person, but who educated well, person can change this world, especially this country in Bangladesh. So education is very important.
My dream is they get the sponsorship and then they study very well and then they get their dream. After that, they are leader of Bangladesh. One of the teacher, pastor, and doctor, everything. We need the leader in Bangladesh.
In any society, children are the most vulnerable and they can be taken advantage of. In a society where poverty is rampant, that is magnified, it's intensified. And so for these children to have a safe place where they can look around them and everything around them is safe, they don't have to worry. The adults there are looking after their safety, they're caring for them. As adults, we have a responsibility to protect the vulnerable, and I see the teachers, the administration at the schools we support here in Bangladesh taking that responsibility seriously. They are looking after the safety of these kids. They want them to be in an environment where they can flourish and where they can thrive, and that is so exciting to see.
I really appreciate Child Impact team for sponsorship. Through your sponsorship, many students, they have a great vision and challenge. So this is not only money, you give them big dreams and then motivation.
One statement that a parent made touched my heart to the core. They said, our children no longer have to worry about food and survival. Now they can chase their dreams. Wow, that is so beautiful. That is a vision I have for Bangladesh as well. Greetings, friends. Perhaps you are earnestly praying for a child or grandchild. It is natural for us to bring petitions to God for those that are closest to our hearts. As I saw the banner of the unsponsored children there in Pastor and Mrs. Park's home, my heart was moved. These children are so close to their hearts. They're earnestly pleading with God for them to find sponsors. Perhaps you are an answer to their prayer. You can sponsor a child by going to childimpact.org or by calling 423-910-0667. Just select Bangladesh. You may also be interested in supporting our unsponsored child fund for those children that are still waiting for sponsors. Thank you so much. Thank you for being an answer to prayer. May God bless.